Nintendo acquires Bandai Namco's Singapore art studio next month, and this came across my table. And before I preface this, before I start like going through this, according to what is like all these stats over here, this was discussed like a year ago, and now it just like came up again. So let's go into it a little bit to where they say that Bandai allegedly, according to AI, again, I don't have the resources personally to like have people vet these things. This is an ongoing development, so sure, why not, right? So if this is the part where if netizens and people online know what they're talking about, please educate me because I would like to know like the ins and outs of these things. This comes in front of me. I ask questions and I'm trying to like get the bigger picture from asking questions and making the wrong assumptions. But Bandai Namco announced the organizational changes in late February, pending sale of Bandai Namco Studio Singapore to Nintendo effective April 1st. The studio, founded in 2013, specializing in in-game art assets, and has worked on the studio. The studio also helped with Splatoon 3, Pokemon title, Nintendo Pokemon Snap, Nintendo title, Tekken 7 and 8, Ace Combat 7. No intellectual properties transfers, just the team. Okay, so that's good. That's good to know. So allegedly, just the team who's worked on in-game art assets is being transferred, not the properties. Nintendo is not doing a WB monopoly grab of these kinds of titles. They're just acquiring in-game art designers, in-game art teams to help them out. Nintendo will buy 80% of shares first, rebranding it as Nintendo Studio Singapore. Where's the water? To strengthen the development for the Switch successor. Fans mixed excitement over the talent grab with reminders of the November announcement and playful speculations on future projects. Yeah, that's fair, because again, like, I had to look it up again. Oh no, like, I'm trusting AI. I'm trusting AI as far as I can throw it, and I can't throw very far, so I'm trusting it just enough to help gather help. I need help, and I don't know a lot about this. So this is allegedly based on 4 or more points of like sources, to where located at Infinite Studios, specializing in development studio focused on high quality 3D models, animations, and in-game assets. Now, when I see this bit to where this team has worked on has a focus on high quality 3D models, animations, and in-game art assets, I'm thinking about the issues that we had with Pokemon. I have a strong association to where we've had problems in Pokemon releases, to where there's been bugs regarding the models. When I played Pokemon Scarlet, we were clipping into the wall still. Animations were a little boring. Art assets were lackluster for Pokemon, in my opinion. As a 33-year-old, it's renowned for in-game art assets, including 3D rendering, models, environments, and animations, rather than full game development. So if they're not grabbing a team that makes games, they're grabbing the artists that are really good at 3D modeling, and I feel like Nintendo definitely needs it. They have provided significant support for Splatoons, and Splatoon models are pretty strong. Tekken, we know those are strong models. Pokemon Snap, strong models. It was announced in November, so people are like first discovering this. And this year it's going to be called Nintendo Studio Singapore. Boost Nintendo's internal development capabilities and strengthen their art production pipeline. This tells me that they are trying really hard to fix the mistakes of previous properties, like Pokemon Scarlet is the first thing that comes to mind, because again, I had an issue with it because there were bugs and there were problems, and they somehow didn't have bugs in Arceus, but then they had bugs everything after that. And so if this means that this team will help make my Pomeranian fire type Pokemon look better, act better, sound like better, I'm excited for that. Let's see. What else have you been saying? High quality. As far as we're aware, no RP are part of the deal. Another high quality studio gets added to the Nintendo profile. Let's see. What I'm hoping out of this is an improvement is a massive improvement to current two titles going forward. First thing that came to mind was wishing Pokemon Scarlet being released with massive amount of bugs and features being silly at launch. That's at least been my experience with Pokemon. Like, that's happened recently. Yeah, it's like it's a thing to where, like, yeah, sure. Remember when they said that in intent back in November? But again, this is just a reminder for people, so people are like, people need constant reminders, Jango Dingle, because we're in a sea of information that we're not always on the pulse of. Now let's see. Is this not the same studio that Nintendo decided wasn't up to snuff to make? And what's MP4B? What's MP4B? What's MP4B? That's not what I want. Game MP4. What does that mean? Metroid Prime for Metroid Beyond. So we're starting development utilizing retro, but still using existing designs. As I said, this was support for Bandai rather than making the game themselves. Yeah, I can think of a few bugs. With title games. I think a few bugs. I mean, it's a good thing that they're expanding, because it's, my opinion is that if they're not constantly growing, then that's a problem. Last year goes into effect. Another remake would put this series 6 feet under for any reasonable person. I don't know what isn't getting a remake. And then now there's people wishing for a remake of Super Metroid, but I don't know. That's just been my opinion since personally hearing the news. So cool. If the acquisition of this art studio focused on in-game assets, and uh, if the acquisition of this studio, whose focus was on high-quality 3D models, animations, and in-game art assets, is the benefit, if they're doing this to enrich what they currently have, that's great. If they still release a bad game, please make my fire type Pomeranian not be a problem. Outside of the I love it, the size of it, please don't give it two legs. Please don't make my fire type Pomeranian stand on two legs. That's all I ask. We had a fox Pokemon that was then standing on two legs. We had a cat that then stood on two legs. We had a pig standing on two legs. And I want that to stop. I want my cats to stay cats, my pigs to stay pigs, and my dogs to stay dogs, and my birds to stay birds, not a standing humanoid. Even though Blaziken's pretty amazing. But that's my opinion. That's again, I'm just a tourist. What would I know?